I had to Google which side of the grater to use for Parmesan cheese.
Top shelf, 24th book from the left, page 182. Whole Grains for a New Generation by Liana Krissoff. Amaranth Polenta.
I'm not surprised one of Liana's books came up this early in the project because I have quite a few of her cookbooks on my shelf. She's a friend of mine who used to live in Athens, and her cookbooks are top notch. She's also, besides writing her own, she's a cookbook editor for other authors. And if you've ever tried to follow a poorly written recipe, you know how important a good editor is, and she is the best that I know. But this is probably also going to be one of the simplest recipes here in the project. Only a few ingredients: amaranth, polenta. We've got the amaranth here. I had to order it online. I thought I'd be able to find it here in the grocery stores, but saw lots of quinoa, which is a close relative botanically, but no amaranth. So first thing we're going to do is take the amaranth, a cup of it, and add it to the medium-high heated saucepan. Just going to pour it right in there and stir it around just for a few minutes. We want to get it just a shade darker, the recipe says, and we want to be able to start hearing it sizzle and pop, almost like popcorn as it's heating up. Let's listen in. Hear it in there? Now that the grain is toasted, we're going to add 3 cups of water and bring that to a boil. And so we're just going to pour it right into the already hot pot and also onto the stove. As you'll see, I'm not used to working around camera equipment, and so I'm going to have to figure out a good system there so I don't drown everything while I'm cooking. But here we are. We got the water in. We're just going to stir it up, bring it to a boil, and that won't take hardly any time at all. Now that it's boiling, we can turn the heat down a little bit to a rapid simmer and just let it cook away. It's going to be about 20 minutes until the grains are translucent and tender and it's thickened up a bit. It says that it's going to not thicken until the last couple of minutes, so that'll be a good indicator there. So let's let it cook away, and I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, it's been 20 minutes and it's not quite ready. It's thickened up definitely, and I tried, tasted a couple, and they were mostly tender, still just a little bit of crunch to them. So we'll let them go about another 5 minutes or so, just to let it thicken up like it should. So in the meantime, I can go and shred some Parmesan cheese because we're going to need that here right quick. I'm going to use this side of the box grater, and I did Google that, yes, because I don't often buy Parmesan cheese like in a whole block like that. I don't splurge for it. It's definitely better, but usually I just buy the bagged pre-grated stuff, and it's just fine for my day-to-day cooking. But the recipe specifically said freshly grated Parmesan, and I have no doubt that Liana tried all the different kinds of Parmesan you can get, and if she specified freshly grated, that's going to be the best. So here we are, grating a quarter cup, and a little bit more just for good measure. So it's been 5 minutes. We'll let the amaranth go. I stirred it every so often, and you can see it's much thicker now. I was really starting to doubt myself because it was so watery after 20, and I looked at the package, and the package said for a pilaf, which is like a rice, that I should only put in 1.5 cups of water. I put in 3, like the recipe says. It also says if I want to make like a cereal, like a oatmeal kind of consistency, that I would only need 2.5 cups of water. So I was really starting to think that maybe I had a different kind of amaranth. But no, I can trust the recipe, and just with a few extra minutes. But now it's much thicker. So I can take it off the heat and we can start stirring in the other items in the recipe. First, we've got a tablespoon of butter, and I cut mine up into little pieces because it was pretty cold and I wanted it to be able to melt nice and easily. So just cut it up into pieces and stir that in, and you can see it's melting nice and easy. And then we will add the Parmesan cheese that we just grated, and it's 1/4 cup, and we'll just toss that right in and let that melt as well. Finally, some salt and pepper, and we can stir that in and serve it up. She says to serve it hot. You don't want it to sit around because it'll congeal, I'm sure, just like any sort of grain porridge would. But here it's nice and smooth. You can still see the individual grains in there, which is kind of neat. Yeah, it looks great. So let's try it out. Yeah, if you've ever had polenta before, you know exactly what to expect here. It's very, very similar flavor profile. We've got the Parmesan cheese in there and the butter, and you can't go wrong with that. It doesn't taste of corn. Instead, the Amaranth has kind of a nutty flavor, and it's got the texture of the individual pearls, which is pretty neat on the tongue. They kind of pop like a quinoa or little tiny boba. But that's really good. Thanks for picking out this recipe, Siri. I'm definitely going to be making it again.